far as reverse dieting and everything, I mean, you've done a successful job of it, considering that most people hit a mental barrier, binge, and then shoot back up 15 pounds. I mean, how's that been going for you?
Oh, that's an experience because you I competed at like 150-ish. I probably slept on stage like 152, but that whole like week prior I was like 150. That was like what I competed at, and it's you kind of go through like a wave of your motivation. Like right after, like I compete on Saturday, and then you always have like your numbers going out. So like these are gonna be my numbers after the show or whatever. And that Sunday, I won my show and I took second in another division. So of course motivation is just like all time high, And so I trained like that next day. I hit like I think like a push workout that next day because my chest sucked and whatever. And the first like week or two, it was fine because like I said, your motivation's so high. You're just so focused on hitting your macros, your training, things like that. But then it kind of sets in like, okay, when am I actually going to compete again? All of the foods you couldn't eat and things like that. And you just, like, I still had my numbers. I tried to hit them. But, like, I'm not going to lie. There were days where I probably, like, say my goal was, like, 2,400, 2,500. There would be days where I would blow that, like, double. Like, I would just eat, like, 10 cookies. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't a ton, obviously, because I haven't put on a ton of weight.
Fucking hang sorry, I just turned off my text.
But I did put on 5 pounds the first month, and then about I think 4 or 5 that second month. So I was up to 160 after 2 months, which I felt pretty shitty about because I mean that's about a pound a week, but I mean it's not what most people do. You know what I mean? Most people can do that 10 pounds in a week, not 2 months. You know what I mean? But
right.
I would say there were only about 3 or 4 days where I probably ate over what I was supposed to, and I let it get bad too. I had that. It's so stupid because I knew I was prepared for what was going to happen. Everyone's like, you can't control it, blah, 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 blah. So I knew that going in. So I thought I was prepared for it. But it's really something you just have to experience, just when your hunger is that high and you don't have any real, set date. Because it's easy during contest prep because you're going to be on a damn stage in a thong, you know what I mean? But when I'm like, I'm not going to compete in 3 years, what's stopping me from eating, 10 of these cookies or whatever? So, but then I actually saw an Eric Helms video talking about, he has tons of videos on YouTube, but there's one talking about weight gain after prep. And he was talking about himself, even those first few weeks, it's not incredibly bad, I would say, to put on, say, a half a pound or a pound a week fairly quickly just to kind of get back to feeling normal. And I don't think, the feeling normal thing comes with just calories or just with weight. I think it's also time. But after I saw that, I felt a lot better about that kind of initial bump. You know what I mean? And I was pretty damn lean. You know what I mean? So that after that first bump though, that first 8 weeks, like I said, I had a few days where I messed up, but I was still probably on about 75% of the time. So I'm not going to say like, I wasn't just going out and binging. I put on 10 pounds in 2 months. It wasn't insane. But since then, like today I just weighed in and I'm about 164.5. So I gained about 10 pounds in 8 weeks. And then the next 14, I've gained about 4. Which is even a little bit slower than I want to, but considering the excess I kind of put on right out of the gate, it's been awesome since then. And kind of the difference I can tell between that 8-week mark, that's not really when I felt normal. It's just when it hit me as like, you need to get your shit together or else this can become really bad really fast. So I feel like anytime someone's coming out of a prep, of course they need to be educated about all of those things that I talked about as far as just the hunger being super, super high and it being...
Tell people about that because people never, ever understand. They think to themselves right now because they're just, they're saturated, they're fine, they're not experiencing any hormonal issues, but they tell themselves, yeah, I think I'll handle it. can you just tell them realistically?
It's so hard. Like, man, I was that person. I was like, I'm not going to be the guy to do that. I'm mentally stronger than blah, blah, blah. I was that dude, like, you know, a few weeks out. Like, because I pride myself out during prep. I can't remember one day during prep where I wasn't just on macros. I didn't miss one cardio session. I didn't skip one training session. You know what I mean? But like I said, when you remove that motivation, that external motivation that was your show, it's kind of not common sense, but it's natural, I would say. So for most people, I think it's a lot bigger psychological issue about feeling bad about doing it than actually the act of doing it. Like I don't think it was bad that I gained 10 pounds in the first 2 months. I think it was bad that I felt bad about gaining 10 pounds in the first 2 months. You know what I mean? So
right.
It's more of a psychological barrier than anything, because you're hungry all through prep and you get through it. And you're less hungry after your show than you were, you know, a week out or whatever. But like I said, you remove that external motivation. So you really have to dig deep psychologically just to be like, first of all, understand that more food does not equal feeling better. That's the first thing I can tell people. Because that's what I always thought. I thought the quicker I jump stuff up, I would feel normal. Because you feel like shit after a show. Like I hate to paint this picture for people, but getting on the stage is not fun. Like the last few weeks is not fun at all. So it's kind of natural to be like, I don't want to feel like this anymore. I want to feel quote unquote normal, whatever that is. So you just think that the food will replace that, but the food doesn't really replace that. I started feeling normal again around like 12 to 16 weeks. And I mean like normal, like, it's hard to explain what normal really is, but if you've competed, you know what I mean. But it wasn't from an increase in food, it was just time. And it wasn't really an increase in weight, because my weight really didn't move from like 8 weeks to 12 to 16, you know, within a few pounds.